Who died after being shot early Saturday morning in Dublin has been identified as an up-and-coming Bay Area rapper.
Hey, what's up? This your boy Big Man. You already know what it is, man. So let's get right to it. Okay, so today we gonna be talking about Lil Yace. Now, Lil Yace is a story that we did, is a rapper that we did a story on, a couple of months back. And it's not even a couple of months. It was back in November. Now, if you guys remember, November was a tragic year for hip hop in 2020. It seemed like a lot of rappers were getting killed. I'm gonna keep it frank, man. They were actually getting shot and becoming the victims of some senseless gun violence. Now, Lil Yace was a rapper from the Bay Area who ended up in that same fate, and it was a mystery to most of the law enforcement at the time. Everybody close to Lil Yace thought he was a good guy, knew he was a good guy, judged him and talked about him as a good guy, said he didn't start trouble, he wasn't really down with anything in the streets like that, he didn't have any real ops. So when it came to the investigation of his murder, it was a straight up mystery. Then, on top of that, he was killed in one of the nicest areas ever. So it complicated things, and police thought they never would be successful. Well, it looks like there were some cracks in the case, and it looks like the police were all on top of it, because today we got two suspects. Now, before we get to the specifics, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and man, let's run up them likes. Let's run it up to 1,000 likes, so let's get it there quick. So if you tune into this video and you see it ain't 1,000 likes on the board, make sure you hit that like button, and man, let's get it. Hey, now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about this Lil Yace situation. Now, as I mentioned before, I had talked about this story previously. I did a whole video about the Lil Yace situation, and you can look at, my catalog, or you could just search the video, and it just describes the whole situation that went down back in November. Now, I'm just gonna, touch on it a little bit, but today we got some news about the suspects that were caught and allegedly who were, involved in the murder of Lil Yace. Sad to say, right? Now, there was a news story that broke today in San Francisco, and it basically said this. It says, update, Dublin police arrest two suspects in slaying of Bay Area rapper Lil Yace. Now, Lil Yace was a hustler. He was really on his grind. He had his own company and stuff set up. It looked like he had his own, company as far as, it's legal in some states, it's legal in not. I want to be careful with my words here because I'm not promoting any of that. But it looked like he had his own different, his own business set up with different entities in the business, man. Some for the recreational use and some for music and all that, right? Dude was a solidified hustler and definitely on his music grind. Very young dude, only 26 years old. And it seemed like, man, nobody could put sense to why he lost his life. Because previously, before him meeting up at this BART station to meet with somebody, he was at a BART station in Dublin. Now, Dublin is one of the nicest areas in the Bay Area. And crime in Dublin is relatively low, man. The last time that they had a murder was like earlier in the year. They've only had 3 shooting deaths or 3 murders in the last, I think, 10 years or something like that. Even in the news story, it says like the last shooting they had before that was like in 2009. So I'm talking about all of these signs point towards what in the world is going on here and how did this take place. Now, I guess the police, they got on the trail and they were actually successful in apprehending these suspects. So let's talk about them a little bit. Now, in the news story, let's break it down line by line. It starts off and it says, authorities in Dublin on Wednesday announced the arrest of 2 suspects in the fatal late November shooting of Mark Alexander Jr., better known to his fans as rising Bay Area rapper Lil Yace. Police said an extensive investigation into the November 28th, 2020 shooting that killed Alexander identified the 28-year-old Angel Butler and 28-year-old Javante Williams as the primary suspects in Alexander's murder. Now, this is crazy, man. So they've got a young lady and a dude. I mean, they grown. They super grown. So I can't say young lady, but a 20-year-old lady and a 28-year-old dude who they're saying were responsible for killing Lil Yace, man. Now, according to the story, subsequent warrants were obtained for the arrest On Tuesday, Dublin police officers located Butler and Williams on the 5100 block of Iron Horse. Now, the last time I did a story on this, you saw that, Iron Horse was a place in Dublin. It was like one of the main streets. Because I actually, in the last video, I talked about the street or whatever, and the BART station where it curved there. And you could see in the picture of the BART station, like, this is a super duper nice area. So obviously, the 5100 block of Iron Horse in Dublin, they live in that area. So that makes, maybe this was something really random. Like he had a brief interaction with them and it got out of hand, because them living in that city and knowing it's that nice. And when I look at these mugshots, they don't look like your typical, and I hate to say that. I hate to say that somebody looks like they're, in the streets or in the field or whatever, and others can't be. But they definitely don't look like the type, man. They just don't. But they do look surprised that they might have got caught for this. Now, they're innocent until proven guilty, but their face is all over the place right now. Now, Parkway and took them, okay, so it continues by saying Parkway and took them both into custody. They messed up and split the story. So they took them into custody without incident. They were later booked into Santa Rita jail on murder charges. Now, every time I hear things like Santa Rita and places like that, I always think nice. You know what I mean? Now, early Saturday morning on November 28th, so they're basically here talking about the situation, about the Dublin police responded to, Lil Yace being shot. And when they arrived, he had already had multiple gunshot wounds. And he was later transferred to this hospital called Eden Medical Center in Castro Valley, where he later succumbed to his injuries and passed away. Now, Alexander, who was initially, identified after the fatal incident, was shot in the neighborhood BART station. Okay, so they're just talking more about that situation and about his grind as a rapper. But man, this is wild, man. Hardly ever do you see couples who carry out hits or carry out shootings like this, especially in super nice areas like that, like places where, it costs a lot of money just to even live. So what in the world could have transpired to where they had an interaction with Lil Yace that ended up being a deadly shooting or situation like that, man? I don't know, man. It's from the gate. When I did the story back in November when this happened, it seemed weird. There seemed like something odd was up here. Like he all of a sudden left the studio and ended up at the BART station. Like not many people leave the studio and don't just go home. You know what I mean? Not many people go to the studio all night and then just, end up going to a random BART station. So as the details of this story comes out, I think we're going to find some things that are more and more revealing. And we're going to probably be shocked. Maybe it was a botched drug deal gone bad. Now, I hate to put that on Lil Yace because it looks like he wasn't involved in any of that. And all reports say he was not involved in anything of that nature. But maybe it was something, I don't know, man. You never know. But what do you guys think? Do you think something sketchy was going on here? Or do you think it was possible that this was just a chance-off interaction where two people were crossing paths and it ended up being a horrible situation? Now with that, this has been your boy Big Man. Do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you get a notification every time I drop this hot content. And we out of here. Peace. Oh yeah, and if you made it to this part in the video, make sure you hit that like button.